I'm Rick Reynolds of the Intellivisionaries Podcast, and you're watching Papa Pete, the Old Guy Gamer.
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown up by the age of 50, you don't have to.
And here we are, guys. So happy to have today. GoGameGo Jeff, right there. And of course, the incomparable, went the right way, the incomparable TJ Ferreira from the Intellivision Amico Society on Facebook. Thanks so much, TJ, for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. It's going to be a fun one, I'm sure. I've got some things in my mind. I can't tell you where I'm going to go with them. I may be calm, but then again, you never know.
Hey, we've been saying this is just where it goes. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything, and there's no structure. We're just going to go where it goes, and we're going to involve the chat. Jeff will be watching the chat. Who's in the chat so far? We got lots of people in there. Who's that Casey Nidal guy? Do you have any idea who that is, TJ?
Oh, man, that guy. I love him, actually. You know, he is one of the nicest. You know, there's nice people in the world. And I only met him through the internet. I've never met him face to face, but cheers
to you.
He's a wonderful, cheers to all the rest of you too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Casey's really, really sweet guy. And I don't mind calling a guy sweet, I'm of that bracket, and he's been so generous to me. He's great. So
once you get old enough, you forget about all those hang-ups because it really is not too freaking important, right? No, awesome. I know Casey's been talking to Casey. I talk to Casey quite often, and he's just excited for the show to get you on there because you got some good internet now, which you didn't have for a long time, right?
Yeah. I'm in the butter zone now, baby, because for the last 20 some odd years, it's no joke. I mean, I was a step below and above dial-up. Satellite internet is hard. It's like teeth on a daily basis. So.
And I'm not exactly in a major metropolitan area either, and we had really bad internet until just about 3 or 4 years ago. Doing things like this just never would have even been conceivable. Really, YouTube was not even conceivable at one time.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got Lance Jennings is in the house. Who else is in there?
Born Distracted, Ross Murray.
Oh, right on, Born Distracted. I scroll back. Christopher Westerman. Big Doomer. Hey, Chris. Right on. Good to see you, man. Early out there. He's out in your time zone. He's out in the Pacific time zone, too. He's in Vancouver.
Sweet.
Salvador. TV's Hasselhoff. Right on. I haven't had a chance to read many of the comments. Just I'm scrolling down through.
I'm amazed you guys can keep up with it. I read like I play video games, and if you're watching any of my video games, I'll just leave it at that. But it's kind of like, how do you do that and do this and type at the same time? I mean, I'm a kind of a single focused person, so
I say it every week. I hate to ignore the chat, right? You don't want to ignore the chat because that's the huge part of any reason to do this is everybody being able to interact together, right? But it's very difficult to have a conversation and to listen to what you're trying to say and monitor the chat stuff. That's why a lot of times Jeff and I do it together because sometimes, like tonight, we're both going to watch, we're both going to talk because we both want to get to know you better and hear what you have to say. And we'll take turns sort of monitoring the chat. But when you're talking one-on-one with somebody, it's very, very hard to do that.
Yeah, I don't see how people could do it. And this is I've seen some threads that, the scrolling is as fast as the speed of light. It's like, how do you keep up with this? I'm just like left, right, shoot. That's my video game. That's how I read.
Beautiful.
But I'll do my best to kind of and plus my eyes suck. I mean, one right eye is so blurry now. Don't get old, folks. But it's blurry and it's hard to read, and you got to do this and that. Yeah.
I think we've come to the conclusion that all three of us are well into the 50s there. So
yeah. I would most of us are getting to that bracket, yes, which is all right. Got a lot of energy for a 50-year-old.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I'll do my best.
If you hit 50 and you haven't grown up, you don't have to. So there you go.
That's right. I would just listen. Actually, the other day I watched one of your videos, and for the rest of the day, it's kind of like one of those. Somebody gets a song in your head and you can't stop. So I'm outside. I was actually cleaning dog doodle box just to be joking. Papa Pete, the old dog. I go, what the hell am I doing here? It's in my head. I couldn't shake it, but I was doing things. I was outside. I was working. So,
right on. That beer's really good. You know that. Whoever it was that said 3 minutes in, we're hitting the booze already. It was a good idea. So what was the first one? I only got 2 here though. I'm gonna have to run for another one before the end of the night. So Patrick's got the comment up here. Got to ask you, man, and I know, talk about you did a video on this even. Interesting day with the Amico announcement.
Yeah, pretty awesome, huh? I mean, we've been all waiting for this, right? Amico in production.
Yeah.
This is pretty exciting. I mean, to be truthful, I'd love that if we were all playing it by now for Christmas.
Sure.
But it's not the case, but big news. It's in production. And so 2022 is going to be kick-ass. Intellivision kicks ass. Casey, right? Casey Neidall loves that expression. Intellivision kicks ass, and it's gonna.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I won't say super surprised the news comes sometime, but I didn't expect it today. I don't know what it was. It surprised me too. And it was good to see the videos up. I saw your video. I know there's more than this, okay? Because I haven't had a chance because I get home from work and I went right into making my own little video. I had to do a video for some other stuff, and I had to do a video, of course, my reaction, which the 3 of us are in the chat room, guys, and I'm still trying to get it sort of finished up and posted up on YouTube. I posted it to YouTube about 5 to this starts at 9 o'clock Papa Pete time, 9 o'clock Atlantic, which is my time, and I think I got it posted exactly 5 minutes ahead of time. So I was kind of negligent to Jeff and TJ by being distracted trying to get that up there. But I haven't had a chance. But I did see what's he? Oh, I always going to call him OEB Pete, but Classy Pete. Classy Pete's video was hilarious. Did you watch it, TJ?
Yes, I did, and I actually posted it, and I called him the best Napoleon Dynamite dancing because he's sitting there. I thought of Napoleon Dynamite the second I saw him dancing. So
right on. Lance just asked, did you get a Founders Edition?
Yeah, Founders Edition. Yeah, actually, back when they were introduced, I made a whole video, and I couldn't sleep that night. I was giddy as a kid. So my original video, I did one of my first ones. I actually woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I put the camera next to my pillow, and I go, I can't sleep. I want to buy an Amico. And I have this whole skit, because most of my videos are kind of silly skits. And I went through the whole motion, and then the next day I ordered it. And, I was going to be all over the Founders Edition. I had to have it. So, yeah. Can't wait.
I hope right there that Born Distracted is right, that some people will get it in December.
Yeah, we talked about this right before we came on the air, what we thought. TJ, you think we'll get it a little bit later?
Yeah, I'm thinking some key people that are probably great in the world of YouTube and marketing and got some exposure. Maybe they'll get them in a few of those folks' hands by the end of the year to start building up some momentum. And then maybe for the rest of us folks, January, February, March, someplace in that 3-month period. I don't know about January. That's really pushing with shipping and delays, just getting stuff over here to the U.S. I'm thinking more February, March. That's my thought.
I think they're building the Founders in the U.S.
That's right.
Yeah.
They had a whole video on that, and they're going to do it in the United States.
Which is good news, because that'll save us probably a couple months of shipping.
Oh, yeah. What state is that in? I'm gonna go booby trap it right now and get in there. We should make a video game of people scoundering around on the place that's making Intellivision.
Probably right in your state, buddy.
Is it in California?
I don't know, but
it's either California or Utah, one of the two.
Really? I thought they were making them. I thought the place that was making them was like a Texas company. See, if Tommy was here, he could probably tell us, right?
Yeah,
that's a good point. I'm not sure.
Could and would are two different things. So he probably doesn't really want to let that cat out of the bag by any stretch. But but he could for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking Texas. That's where I think this place was. For some reason, I got a Texas vibe when I watch it. I could be completely wrong.
Well, and something that you say that, and something in my mind sort of kicks in too about it being down in Texas, but
right.
I'm not sure just what it was. Oh, listen to this. Doomer's got 3 weeks off over Christmas, and his kids have 2 weeks off. He'll need an Amico. Great way to put it right there.
Yeah. Don't you all need breaks from your own kids, right?
Oh, look at that. He got it. Ross. Oh, that's right. I remember that way back when. The golden tickets. I'd sort of forgotten about those.
The other day I was cleaning up here. I think I have my ticket someplace. Is this it?
Yeah, no, I have 3 of those golden tickets. I'm not sure where they're at now.
But Ross actually won one of the prizes with it. Yeah,
Intellivision. Well, it's the one that it's probably not the same golden ticket you're thinking about. It's the one that
Yeah, that one.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know.
They were sending those out with if you made a purchase, I believe, right?
But if you check this on the RFID, you could win prizes. And I can remember way back when we were on AAA, and everybody was checking their tickets. And Ross Murray was the person that I knew that won something with his golden ticket. I can't remember exactly what he won. If you know, maybe you don't even know yet, Ross. Remind us what you won. But I do remember you doing that on Amico All Access.
Lance, yes, I see. It's probably easier to actually read and then say it, but I see that Lance was saying, did I buy the physical games? And yeah, I was in there the second they put it up and purchased all 8 and already opened one. I'm going to slowly do videos because like my videos, they're like little skits. So I did one and I did Moon Patrol, and then I had to show me playing the actual Moon Patrol on the phone. So I'm hoping to kind of do that for the other ones if I'm able. I don't know.
TJ, the big question is, are you doing another Amico Christmas video?
I just normally you see me fully bearded. I just got a haircut and beard trim over the weekend. So normally I look more Santa Claus-y. I've been making all sorts of videos and coming off of Santa. So I don't know if I'm going to do one because I got just a small little beard now and barely any hair up here. But maybe we'll see. I kind of wing it.
Still pull it off.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, kind of the clean springtime Santa, right?
That could be the backstory of your video.
Yeah, I might. So, yeah, I like Christmas. As you can actually, I don't know if it's picking up here, but I'm trying to remember his name already. I'm bad with names, but he made this Merry Christmas Intellivision Amico, me looking like Santa. It may be washed out on your screen.
Slappy Marsden?
Yeah, Slappy, that's right. How can I forget the word Slappy? I mean, that's a great name.
I have 3 syllables. 56.
56.
That's how you forget simple things like that, because I know at 53 I do.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, he's pretty cool. He makes great. I mean, he's one of the. There's all sorts of characters. The thing I like probably about the Amico the most, or any platform, are the people. I love the gear. I love the computers. I love the gaming consoles. But it's the people, and there's so many different characters. You've got you guys here, and you've got OEB Pete, formerly known as OEB Pete. Yeah. He's no longer OEB Pete. He's classy now. And then you've got everybody's got these neat characters about him, and it's kind of fun to get to know them. So that's more important to me than any of the video game stuff.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's amazing how many people this has brought together as friends and such like that. We say that quite often. And a lot of it all traces back to the different people I've met, probably 30 or 40 different people. After my first first episode of Amico All Access, right? I met a half dozen that day and just met so many other people, including the majority of the people in the chat today and right here on the screen. Through that. So I always have Pete to thank for that, because Pete was very good at bringing everybody together in that manner as well.
Yeah,
it was
big time. Yeah, I still have this. I posted this dream long ago when this whole Amico thing kind of first started, that at some point in time that there would be a trade show that Amico and Intellivision would be at, and that a whole slew of us type of folks, a major event, not like a smaller one, but a major one, and they would have a big Intellivision booth, and all of us would kind of converge on it at the same time, meeting each other, meeting them, and just making a big splash on how many people are excited about this product. That would be cool.
I don't remember this bet, Born Distracted.
I made a bet with Papa Pete that if he or one of his friends get an Amico in December, that he has to buy me one. Oh, wow. You make big offers. Did you remember doing that?
I do not remember making that bet, and I want to know what I get if they don't.
Yeah, I don't gamble. I'm not a gambler because I'll definitely lose. Yeah, I would make a bet like that for sure.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he's thinking of the other Pete. Maybe Born Distracted was thinking of, formerly known as Pete.
Okay. That makes more sense. That's probably who Born Distracted means.
That's what I'm yeah.
Hey, I took a shot.
You're so hoping you forgot, Pete.
Right.
Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. That's after your beard trim and your haircut.
I'm gonna look like nice and pretty. Have to look good for the family. Normally, I don't.
You did it for this video, right?
What's Casey saying for this? Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to
for
do
this video.
You guys. Yeah, for sure.
You knew you were coming on the channel, so you had to go to the salon, right?
Hey, I got my money's worth big time because I had a pretty bushy beard, and it took them a good half an hour to get the rototiller out, get it all off, and make me look semi-respectable.
When they come in with the barber's tools or John Deere, you know you got a good head of hair.
Exactly.
Slappy does amazing work.
Slappy does great stuff.
It's
and he's one of the characters of our Amico society, you know?
Yes, absolutely. There needs to be almost worth putting out a book of Slappy's artwork, let me tell you that.
Yeah, television should really hire that guy. He's
I'm
he's
not
pretty
sure that hasn't happened, TJ, to be quite honest. We've made comments before, and Tommy has replied with his infamous comment, well, wouldn't that be something?
Exactly. Well, hopefully some of these come true. I'd love to see some of those things happen. Imagine at one point everybody, working for Intellivision that loves the product. To tell you the truth, the best employees are people that love your product because they're going to die for you pretty much. They're going to do whatever it takes to make it great.
Remember that video from their headquarters when they were walking around? On one of the walls was a Slappy.
Yep.
Picture.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
So
I'd love to actually take. I'm in California, so at some point maybe I'll talk them into allowing me to come down and make a visit of the place. It's a long haul because I'm in Northern California, and California is one long ass state, so it takes a lot of time to drive down there. But it'd be kind of neat to see the Intellivision folks down there and just meet everybody. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
TJ, my family took a vacation in LA a few months ago, and I told Tommy about it, and he said, "Yeah, have them stop by." So they stopped by.
Sweet.
They hung out and they played some games. It was awesome.
It's kind of cool when you have a CEO that's just pretty down to earth. It's just like, it's kind of funny. The way I look at people, there's doctors and there's people that have obviously trained and went to school and learned a craft, but in the end they're just like you and me. They are basically just people that did learn a little bit more about something, but they're not, in my opinion, any better, any worse. They're just another person that happens to have learned something, and you're going to go to them because they know just that little bit more than you to help you with your situation, whether it's a doctor or whatever it is. Now, there are some pretty brilliant folks that are way above, but I think for most folks, they're just like you and I, and they do things like we do. And so I try to treat everybody like they're no better, no worse. They're just people, and you like them and you enjoy whatever you're doing with them.
I like Savater's comment. This hasn't been this excited for a console since the Dreamcast, which might be one of the last really unique consoles like this one.
Yeah, I never owned one of those. I've heard the name used a lot. My last system was a Wii.
Yeah, there you go.
15 plus years ago, wife and I purchased a Wii. I still have it. Don't play it. I'll be truthful. We've never found a common goal of enjoying video games together, and I'm hoping that the Amico may be that final one that does it. Wii was close, but for whatever reason, it just didn't have the same impact. But for some reason, I feel that the Amico is going to have it, and maybe because I'm going to have a lot of passion for it, and it's kind of from the ground up. You're part of a small, fun community, and it'll be kind of fun to show your better half what you're doing with your day, spending time and making Amico societies and Facebook groups and all this other stuff that you spend time on. They like to know what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of sloppy talk in here, but he's done so many amazing things. I think he's had all three of us and umpteen other people artwork about. I'd like to get. I have not yet. He sent me the one of me too, and I want to. It's a box cover, and I want to get. I want to get a printout of it sometime.
Yeah, I was all excited when he did one for GoGameGo.
It was pretty. It was neat.
He made one of me. I've normally got a pretty bushy beard, but he overemphasized it.
Yeah,
and it was like about this, where my hands are. It was huge. I actually saved it because one day I'd like to post it like to a family and say I'm going to move up to the mountains like Ted Kaczynski, and I'm going to leave the community, leave life, and here's what I look like now. Freak them out.
That's funny. Oh my God. I think, Ross, that will be a great video. I really hope they do too. Sometime in the next little while, or at least one showing the production line. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be, I think that's an important part of, you guys probably know that I'm in the Speckies in Sinclair Spectrum Next, and it's a kind of a modern take of the older Spectrum computer. They actually did take pictures of some of the production process. It was a Kickstarter. So they showed, here's the keyboards, and here's this, and it kind of gets your juices flowing and your excitement for it about to come out. So it would behoove them. It's free marketing. Yeah. You're making, take some pictures, take a video, put it out there. It's going to get people excited about it.
Yep. And slam the door on some negativity maybe at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Although a lot of those people are nuts, so it probably won't.
What did doubt talk about pizza?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Casey's got a question right there for you. What about team shirts?
Well, I hit it to him the other day. I actually I've never developed my YouTube channel above and beyond what I do now, but I do have a couple of ideas for a shirt. And if you've watched me play video games, one of the biggest words that comes out of my mouth, it's a swear word, but I don't consider it a swear word. Yep. I say, you bastard.
You bastard.
And so I'm going to make a shirt with my face, but with a bigger, thicker beard, and it's going to say, you bastard. It would be perfect. And he said he would get one for his kids, but they can't go to school with it, obviously.
Well, there you go, yeah.
But yeah, I think I would get one of those. That's the only one off the top of my head that maybe I could do that would be kind of funny. So maybe at some point I'll actually probably ask you, because I know you make some shirts.
Just
probably both of you do. GoGameGo. Do you guys do shirts too?
Yep.
Oh yeah, Jeff is fantastic at shirts. He's an artist. He can design. He's good. I'm a hack. I can put things together, but the logo up in the corner is about the best I can do. That's what my shirt is, and I did it with like fonts, right?
I was wearing one of your shirts, and someone actually stopped me and said, "I really like that shirt." The
what
big
about
Papa Pete?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that makes me. That's good. It's just something.
Yeah, I should do it. I guess I'm not. I'm so busy with other things, I guess, in life that I haven't found that 1 minute to do it. It's not difficult, but it's just a matter of setting it up, doing it. And so I think it'd be kind of fun to make a shirt and see if actually anybody buys it and wears it.
Look at that link rolling across the bottom. I mean, that's the TeePublic where we go, just because that's easy. We don't really make any money off it. They make the money more or less, but all you need is to create your design, and people can go on and buy the shirts if they want. And it's great. You get a little kickback, but very simple to do.
Little kickback is cool. I mean, just like YouTube, eventually when you get to a certain amount of viewers, you get a few bucks here and there. Basically, it's beer money. Beer money.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone. So you can treat everybody to a beer, and people that enjoy your videos, treat you to beers. It's a nice thing.
That's right. That's absolutely right. That's the way to do it. That's what it's all about, is friendship and hanging out, right?
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, my in-laws are only 25 minutes away. So me being the nice husband, I took my wife and I up to move closer to them versus where my parents were. So we don't really have partying friends that we go out with and party on the weekends. I don't go to the pub. I don't get to do really any of that because my wife and I don't really have any friends up here that we do that type of thing with. So drinking on YouTube videos is actually kind of fun. It's a little breakout from what I typically do. So,
yeah, well, we've been known to do that and stream some like Rocket League or something like that on the GoGameGo channel, or play hockey or whatever like that. And the game quality usually declines as the beer consumption goes up.
Yeah. Well, I've seen enough of your videos to know that you always bring out all sorts of interesting, good beers. So,
yeah, I like different kinds. It's like the problem with them is, and you may have noticed this somewhere if you watched any series of video, I tend to get a lot of videos, pickup videos, especially in the can, and then I'll release them, I'll edit them and stuff little by little and release them over time. Like, for example, I'm about to release one later on this week that I actually recorded a month ago, right? And the problem with that is I'll sit and I'll record maybe 6 or 7 videos in a sitting. Well, I don't let those beer go to waste. When I those beer, I have to finish that one before I can record the next video. So
your video quality starts deteriorating as you go.
Well, I don't know if it deteriorates or maybe gets a little bit more entertaining as I get a little
more
bit
better,
up,
So typically, I'm a pretty jolly guy. I talk a lot. I have no embarrassment about me to do stuff. Are you typically, without alcohol, more calmer and sedate, and then you open up as you drink, or what's your typical MO?
Well, I will say that the hardest part for me is sitting down and making the videos. Okay, like thinking of what to say. I really don't present very well. I'm much better sitting down and writing out my thoughts than presenting them verbally. But YouTube in general has given me a little bit helped me with that very much. I'll be telling you the truth, is like before this, I did a 3-minute video on the announcement today for the Intellivision Amico. And what all of my videos are pieced together. I do a lot of editing in them and covering up, and I try to make it sound like it's flowing, but it might be very, very broken up in reality. Well, I did a 3.5-minute take diatribe on the release announcements today. And you know what? I did all one take, and I was sitting there going, that was more happy about being able to do a 3.5-minute thing straight than anything else. And yes, alcohol, of course, lets you keep going a little bit more with more fluidity, but that also affects sometimes what you're saying. So, it works both ways, right?
Yeah. I just wing pretty much everything in life. So I just like winging it. I go for it. Yeah.
So I need to go kiss the Blarney Stone to get the gift of gab. Sorry, Jeff.
Almost all my videos I just do in one take. I just do the best I can. There's sometimes I'll mess something. I'm like, oh, geez, and I got to do it over. Sometimes 2 or 3 times, but for the most part, I do it one and done. And
they're great.
Yeah, once in a while I'll have one that I after I stop it, I go, that was stupid, or that just didn't work, and then I'll start over again, kind of thing. But normally I let the problems and the faux pas and everything you do inside the video just be, and you just stick it up on YouTube, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a bad echo there somewhere. Is that?
You sound okay over here.
Let us know in the chat if you're getting an echo, please.
I think it's gone now.
Oh, good. It was just for a moment. I moved my mic a little bit too. Maybe that helped it out a little bit.
Yeah, don't use an Atari joystick on your shirt.
Jeez, yeah, really. If you do that, don't put that. That's the one thing that's. If you look at the logo, I've got a little tiny Atari joystick, and they took it down for Atari. Did a copyright claim on my logo.
Really?
Yeah, so you can't get that shirt anymore.
I've got an Atari over here. I own a Falcon now. If you're into Atari, I just purchased one of my dream computers I actually owned one before and then stupidly sold it. I'm known for having some kick-ass stuff, and then crap hits the fan and you need money for something else, and you sell it. And then years later, you kick yourself over and over like, why did I do that? So I just purchased one again because I've been really since 2018, I've had this bug of buying and enjoying and using retro computers and gaming consoles and all that. And I had to have one of these again. And luckily, I've been bugging this place that I knew had one to finally sell me one, and I got one. And I'm pretty stoked. I can't wait to dive into it.
That's nice.
DJ, what's a Falcon?
So Atari, towards the end of their life, had a computer, pretty much their last one, called the Atari Falcon. It's on par with like the Amiga 1200 series. They were 92, 93-ish year computer. So it's a 32-bit computer that came out around the same time. You know what the Atari Jaguar is, right?
I had one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's around that same time. And as Atari was plundering, just like the Commodores was plundering and things were going out, they pretty much put all their money into the Jaguar towards the end, it looks like. At least that's what I'm seeing. And they just eventually died. But the Falcon was their pretty much last hurrah in the computing world. And it's a really actually great computer because it had a DSP chip. And if you know Atari and music, that's their one niche that they were phenomenally great for. Because they had stock on pretty much every Atari and MIDI in and out. So you could do wonderful music things. And Nick Fleetwood was a big advocate. John Anderson from Yes. There's all sorts of groups that used Ataris for their music production. And the Falcon was pretty kick-ass for that. So I'm glad to have one again. I just wanted to have one, and I got a boxed one, and it cost me my liver and my spleen and all the body parts. But I own one now, and we'll see what I do with it.
Is there more than one model?
No, pretty much it came out as the Falcon. Probably different levels in terms of how much RAM you could get and things like that. But it's pretty much one model. It was the Atari Falcon, and that was it.
Can't believe I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah. In fact, let me see here. I actually moved things around a little bit. I don't want to break my mouse. Let me make sure I strategically place it someplace.
I want to come back to Casey's question here. I'm going to make you bigger on the screen, TJ, if I can figure out how. If I remember how. There, right there. There, you're solo on there now if you want to show it.
Okay. So, there we go. So that's an Atari Falcon, and it's kind of, you got to go backwards with this. Yeah, it's a really cool all-in-one, pretty much Atari and Amiga, where they did really great, were all-in-one computers. Atari, though, did have and split out a keyboard. Professional systems like the TT and the Mega STE series, they did break out the keyboard. And so over in Europe, like in Germany, Atari was actually pretty popular in terms of computers. So Europe is, sometimes I was envious of Europe and folks over there because they held on to things that United States lost. United States went to PC and Mac pretty much, but some other countries continue to utilize and really push the limits of these other computers for years afterwards. And they had some cool stuff, but eventually they had to die off and everybody went PC or Mac or whatever it was.
I know so little about the computers back in those days. Basically, what I know is I know about the Amiga, I know about the Atari 400, 800, and I had played lots of Commodore 64. But you have a huge collection of various more obscure, such as the Atari Falcon. Let's talk about some of those, because like you have let's go the obvious. What that I would be most interested in. Let's talk about the Mattel Aquarius.
Aquarius, yeah, because that's kind of in the world of Intellivision because it was made by Mattel,
right?
And what's kind of funny is, and I'm really going to probably dive into this more in 2022.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. You had the gaming companies, you had Atari, and you had Coleco, and you had Intellivision. Yes. And all of them were saying, they got the gaming systems, but computers were becoming very popular. And how could we take that gaming console and move it into the computer world. And pretty much all of them did it. With the Intellivision, they had the Aquarius. Right. What's kind of funny about it is the Aquarius is actually a little less capable than the Intellivision in some cases. Actually, some of the games on Intellivision were better. So it was a pretty, excuse my cough, toned down computer, but it's really neat. It's got a really aesthetically pleasing design. And there is a Facebook group that's all about Aquarius. There's almost 500 members, 500 people that check out the Aquarius. And there's a handful of people that are really into it, talking about the wee blue keys, because the keys on the keyboard are blue, and it had a really aesthetically cool look to it. And it's just a Z80 processor. And notice I said Z. I didn't say Z.
Yeah, there you go.
In the early days, my first YouTube video, I said, I've got a ZX80. Oh, I never heard language from those UK folks. Now you got to say Z.
Or the Canadian.
My word back. So is a zombie a Z-ombie? No, is zombie is a zombie, not Z.
It's not a Z-ombie and it's not a Z-ombie. It's just a zombie.
Yeah, zebra is a zebra. I mean, it got compared. But to tell you the truth, Zed does sound kick-ass cool, right? So I've gravitated now where everything Zed. So Aquarius is really cool. I have two. And what's neat about it, so about the computer stuff, is that it's basically a computer. You can learn to program with it. And it actually has some connectivity with the Intellivision to a degree, because Intellivision came out with a computer module for the Intellivision too. And they had one for also the original Intellivision. So you had the whole keyboard that you could actually learn to program with. So I have a Intellivision 2, and I have the computer module kit, so you can learn how to program. So right there, they had that, plus the Aquarius. So it got me thinking, I'd love to learn how a gaming console company went into the computer business. You have that, and then you have Coleco. I've never owned a Coleco before, but they have the Coleco Atom. Do you know what the Coleco Atom is?
Oh, yeah, I do. I know what you mean, yeah.
I had one of those at one point.
Did you?
I have one. Right. I've never owned a Coleco before, but, I go, something about a gaming console company and they also started moving into the computer world really intrigues me. So I have an Atom on the way, and I'd like to make in the future a series of videos that's all about gaming companies with their consoles and how they started gravitating towards computers. And so I'll have the Intellivision 2 with the module, and then the Aquarius, and kind of group that together. And then Coleco with the Atom, and then maybe at some point I'll get a Coleco gaming system. For whatever reason, it's just one of those rabbit holes I wasn't prepared to go down, because look at behind Pete. You've got thousands of games behind you. That's a big rabbit hole.
Oh,
you see that?
Yeah, right.
Oh man, that's a rabbit hole, and that's up there is probably a Lamborghini right there in cost, right? You get thousands and thousands of dollars of, I just can't afford that. So I've been trying to stay away from getting a Coleco also, but I could help myself, so I have one on the way.
Oh, Steel Battalion, Pete.
So is that like one of those expensive games?
Yes.
Don't tell the wife though, right? It's only $10. That's it. $10.
She never hides in the chat either.
They're sneaking. Yeah, to tell you, it's kind of funny. My wife doesn't watch my videos, so I can kind of make fun of her if I want to.
Oh, there you
go. Once in a while, I'll kind of show her one. Like, here's something stupid I did. But generally, yeah, she has her thing. I have my thing. And so I'd like to, like when I'm Rainbow, you know who Rainbow is? When I call her my old lady when I'm in Rainbow form. So, yeah, she's my old lady.
It's kind of the same, like yours, except for mine. Instead of you can make fun of her when she's not around, mine comes in the chat and makes fun of me.
Oh, sweet. So yeah. How long have you been married?
24 years.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah. So
how about you, Jeff?
27.
Married? 27. So I'm the winner. I finally won something. I never win video games, but I'm 31 years with the same lady.
Wow.
There you go.
That's a long time. It's a roller coaster. You both have you have your issues, but overall it's been pretty good. And so, yeah, I'm glad to actually see somebody that's been married 20 some odd years, because it's a lost art these days. There are too many people that stick things out.
You know, that Falcon got me thinking. That purchase of yours is not that far off of a keyboard component for the Intellivision.
I got mine for pretty good. My computer component, actually, I did pretty good on that one. Once in a great while, I will find a deal. But do you want to know what my Atari Falcon cost me? $5. If my wife watches, I'll tell you.
There's Tommy.
Hey, Tommy Talarico. How you doing, buddy?
They but I'm not talking about the ECS, the one that I have one of those too. I actually have a couple of them. I'm talking about the original master component that there were only a few of. They were only sold in California.
You're right. I'll never own that.
Very few working.
Yeah, I'll never own that one. So that one, is that multi-thousands of dollars?
That is about, it would cost you $5 probably.
$5,000?
Yeah, and probably not working.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I got a good deal on the Falcon then.
It's a complete, Mr. Talarico has one.
He showed it on, he had it on our show. We had it on the first time.
There you go.
It was a big thing. He had it like on his shoulder. It was just enormous. I think, didn't you sit the Intellivision like in the back?
The keyboard is in the front? Right inside of it. It had a slot where it sat right down inside. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this right now. If it had gone national, my brother-in-law at the time, he was like waiting for it to come out to get one. And I don't know how much it was, like $1,000 or $1,200 at the time. He was buying one. And this is 1980 or 79. Well, 80 by then, 80, 81. So $1,200 in 1981, that was like friggin' 10 grand. Right?
Wow.
Crazy.
See, so Christian Martin just sold one for $5,000.
There you go.
Not working.
I mean, you could go out and buy a car that kind of runs for that price, right?
Oh, you could probably get something that would do you for a while, a little car for that.
Yeah. So. No, if I spent $5,000, I mean, I spent half of that on this Falcon, and it's working, and hopefully it stays working. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a big change.
You had that. You said you got it inbox working. It's in excellent condition. So
exactly. Yeah. Yep. So. Yeah, so retro computers, so that whole computer thing, gaming consoles, moving into computers. But then I have a whole other, probably my biggest time spent these last number of years has been on Sinclair. And if you're in the United States, which I'm guessing some of you folks are, you're going, Sinclair, oh my goodness, that's a doorstop, right? So old computer, and it actually was a pretty good wedge to become a doorstop. But I fell in love with them, and it's because of the Spectrum Next, a Kickstarter that was done a number of years ago. And I wasn't part of the original one, but I was able to buy the pledge from somebody because I became so enthralled and fascinated with the whole world of Spectrum. And most people see this United States bloke, you know, and most of everybody's over in the UK or other countries, they see me and they go, what the heck's this guy doing? But I fell in love with it. And now I've got a pretty decent sized YouTube channel that's kind of building. I've got a little over getting close to 3,300 folks now.
Nice.
Guessing most of them are retro computer related. And I just fell in love with the Spectrum, so much so that I created my own game on it. And I just fell in love with the Spectrum platform.
You're getting into the stuff that I wanted to talk about next, frankly. What about this game? That's Casey. I'm not going to go back and try to find it, but Casey asked earlier on. You saw me texting a few minutes ago. I was texting Casey saying, don't let me forget to go back to the game, because sometimes you get off the and you miss it, right? What's the scoop on your game?
Yeah, so this dates back to when I was a wee little lad in the 1980s. I had an Atari 800, my first computer. Back then, kids had to work. You had to have a paper route. I got up at 3 a.m. and had 2 paper routes. I saved my money, and in 1980, purchased an Atari 800. Yeah. And a cassette tape drive. That was all I could afford, and it cost me.
Oh yeah, well that's what it was then.
$1,400, and I started making
Summer Love Dry Hop Sour Ale. Sorry, Summer Love.
Sweet. Hey, I should have my Rainbow over. He likes the Summer of Love.
We got to drink this before it goes bad in the winter. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off. But I was thirsty.
Yeah, so back then I created a name for a game, and I started programming a game on the Atari 800. Invasion of the Cloud People was what I called it. And I started tinkering with it and started making it. Player missile graphics on the Atari was kind of the cool thing. But then I started liking girls and fast cars. It was in high school time. And I started saving my money for my first car, a Datsun 240Z 1972. Kick-ass car, 6-cylinder, dual issue carbs, and girls. So I never completed the game. So years later goes by, and Spectrum Next comes out. It has a very powerful platform for you, the commoner like me, to create a game. In BASIC. It's called Next Basic. And I decided to, on it, make a game, Invasion of the Cloud People, for the Next. A little before that, though, I made a game for the original Specky. So if you're not familiar with Sinclair, the original, they had a Sinclair ZX series, ZX80, ZX81. It basically came out the year 80 and 81. Then they came out with a color computer that had sound. It's called the Spectrum. And so that came out in around 83. And so I created my first game, Invasion of the Cloud People, technically on it. And then after I put it out there, I purchased the Next on Kickstarter, a pledge. Somebody sold me theirs. And I created the game called Invasion of the Cloud People, The Next Storm, Next Storm. And I made it on that. And Casey, my buddy Casey Nidal, did grab the game and played it. And to date, I think he's the only one that technically has won the game, and he's beat it like 5 or 6 times. It's a small game. It's about 10 levels long, and he's won it. And he's a pretty good video gamer, obviously. But awesome. I just learned the program, never done it before, and I did it because of the Specky Next and my love for it. And my hope is that one day I'll have the time to make Invasion of the Cloud People for the Intellivision, for the Aquarius, for the Falcon or the Atari ST series. For all these computers that I buy, I'm going to have it for every single one. And it'll be kind of fun. Even if only one person plays or two, it'll be kind of worth it. So that's my goal.
You need to find, get that program for Intellivision. They have that Inti Homebrew Basic or whatever. I mean, that's Brian Puddin's programmed several little games with that, right?
I was going to mention his name. Yeah, he's made some games on that, and there's a great book that walks you through doing it. So definitely something on my radar that I would like to explore, because you learn, if you just sit there and play video games only, it's kind of cool. But if you learn to program your own, it really gives you a different mindset when other people make games, and you can see, wow, how the hell did they do that? Or how did they do that? It gives you a different appreciation. So cheers.
Yeah. As Lance says, it is power up time.
TJ, I have a Spectrum question. Well, I've got a few. The Spectrum Next, I remember when that came out on Kickstarter, and I didn't have the money for it at the time. Can you still get that, or is that just is it just out of print?
Right. So they had the first Kickstarter sold out. I think they did. I'm trying to remember. They sold about almost 4,000, like 3,000 some odd Nexts from that. Mm-hmm. Then they came out with a Kickstarter 2, which I was part of. And they sold, I'm trying to remember, about 6,000. About $2 million in U.S. money of Next they sold. Wow. So there's going to be about roughly 10,000 Next out in the world. So it's only been through Kickstarter twice. There's no retail store that sells them. My guess, they're still making them, just like Intellivision's been having complications making the Amico because of parts. It's splashed over to everybody else. So I was supposed to have the next Kickstarter 2 this last September. They've pushed it out. My guess is it's going to be in 2022. When they ship all those out to folks, the rumor is they'll maybe have some leftovers where they'll put them up on their website, specnext.com, I believe it is. And you can go on there and buy one. And I would definitely do it, because on the open market, it's one of those, they were selling for about $1,000. People were just, you can't buy them. So if anybody put it up on the eBay, they would hop all over it. So, and it's really cool. it is an FPGA, but it's got the heart and the feel of an original Speccy. So for all practical purposes, it's a real Speccy, and it's got a real keyboard designed by people that have been in the Speccy platform for a long time.
Nice.
Big history. Jim Bagley, wonderful programming that's made games for the Speccy back in the day. I didn't know what a Jim Bagley was. Now I do, because I'm nuts about Spectrum, but all these people, Henrique Olifers, I have a hard time pronouncing his last name. He's the one that put on this Kickstarter. He loved Speccy as a kid. So you have, kind of like the Amico, you have a group of wonderful people that love the hell out of something, and it's going to make it a wonderful platform. So that's what made me excited about it.
So I first heard about the Spectrum ZX. I'll say Z. On Retro Gamer.
Right now. He said Z.
I love it.
You know, Retro Gamer magazine. Have you seen that?
Yep, I've got some. Yeah, I've got a nice
lot of Spectrum stuff on there, and I love the graphics of that system. It's so unique. You see it, and you know, well, that's a Spectrum. You know that for sure. And then the first time I saw one of your videos, I saw it because you were doing a Spectrum video.
Cool.
And it was so funny. I was watching, and I was expecting to hear a British accent coming out of your mouth. and then it wasn't one at all.
Right.
And I was like, this is so interesting, because usually it's, you know, it's a British thing, kind of, you know, the Spectrum ZX.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
I'm a unique character, but what's at least nice, I have at least a little story on that, because even though when I was a kid, I used my money for my paper route to buy an Atari, at the time, I was seriously considering buying a ZX80 because I still thought it was really cool. So I actually had a friend that had a ZX 80 at the time. And I go, you know, this is a neat computer. There's no sound. It's black and white. And then you got the Atari. Lots of sound, lots of color. And it was a heck of a lot more expensive. We're talking about $100 computer worth, considering, you know, compared to $1,000 computer. So I went to Atari. I'm a United States kid. Atari was in the United States.
Yeah.
But the Spectrum is really, I mean, they sold millions upon millions in the United Kingdom. We're talking about a computer that sold like 5 million Spectrums or something like that. It was a big hit. And it's what launched the computer revolution in the United Kingdom. Over there, it was a big deal. And rest in peace, but Clive Sinclair, who I really didn't know in the 1980s, he is the founder of Sinclair, right? He was originally an electric, he made lots of electric testing components and amplifiers and all these things. And he created the ZX80, 81, the Spectrum, all that. And so he was a big influence over there on those folks. And he passed away this year, and he passed away at the age of 81. So a lot of people have been using the ZX81 as, you know, there's a tie in there. 81, ZX81. Yeah, he was a wonderful, I've never met him. And I had a dream that one day I'd travel over to the United Kingdom with my wife on our big life trip of going over to hit the England and all the Wales and Scotland and Ireland. My wife's part Irish, and we wanted to go over there on a big trip. And I had this little dream that I'd go see the Retro Computer Museum over there, and I'd happen to bump into Sir Clive. It would be wonderful. That's not going to happen now because he passed away, but I'm one of those that keep people in your heart, in your spirit. So he lives on in all these Spectrum computers that are worldwide.
Yeah.
If you were going to say, if someone wanted to get into Spectrum, you know, whatever version, what would you suggest they do? Like pick up a ZX or try to get Next?
I would actually buy a used Spectrum. So ZX80 and 81 are cool, but they're black and white, no color, very niche. Only kind of the oddballs like me find an appreciation, and hundreds more. I mean, there's lots of people that love the ZX80 and 81, but most people want to have sound. Most people want to have color. And so I would start with a Spectrum. And pretty much the problem is every computer platform of old wants money these days. So every retro computer, Intellivision consoles, they do fetch a more pretty penny than what you would think they're worth. So you're going to have to import one over. I basically imported one over, but do you know who Timex is?
Yep.
Okay. Timex actually made in the United States the Timex Sinclair. So they had arrangements with Sinclair in the 1980s. They made a ZX81 compatible computer called the TS1000 and 1500, black and white, no color. And they came out with one called the TS2068. In the United States, it's NTSC. So there's actually a Facebook group that you can join on Facebook if you type in Timex Sinclair. And so I would grab one of those to get your feet wet because it's easy to connect up. It connects to any modern TV. But then once you get your feet wet, grab a Specky from overseas. There's adapters that you can buy. A lot of these computers, you can grab a generic AC adapter and use on like the old Specky. And it just convert, 110, even though it's a 220-volt machine, and it came with that power supply. You can grab an AC one over here on eBay or Amazon and make it work in the United States. You have to do a little bit with the video, but there's ways. And I've found those ways by exploring the platform. And I enjoy 220-volt computers here in the United States with a little device on my desk that lets me run 220-volt stuff. It's really cool.
So Timex Sinclair 1000 is the one you think you should start with?
2068. And they're a little harder to get because it's a color, it's got sound, and it's very equivalent to a Spectrum with some caveats that it's not 100% compatible, but it's a neat computer to kind of explore. TS2068. And my YouTube channel, if you visit it, I've got a video. I'm unboxing it and showing it off a little bit. So really cool. Awesome. But if you can afford a Specky Next, oh yeah, get one. You're going to love it. If you want to learn a program, you can do it. If a dude like me can create his own game, anybody can do it. And it's got cores that you can download that allow you to run other platforms. So it's an FPGA base. So it's not locked in the Spectrum or Sinclair only. There's other things you can explore, and it's piping hot. So you guys know what the Z80 processor is, right?
Okay.
No? Okay. So back in the 1980s, most computers either was 6502, like the Atari processor, or a Z80 processor. A lot of the smaller, cheaper computers, like the Sinclair, used a Z80 processor. And it's a whopping 3.5 megahertz or 3.57 or whatever megahertz. Yeah. So they didn't know. But with the Specky Next, there's intervals that you can run it at stock speed, 7 megahertz, 14 megahertz, and 28 megahertz. Crazy. 28 megahertz Z80 processor. It's screaming fast. And with sprites that you can design yourself for your own games, it makes everything very user-friendly for a commoner. I like saying that word, commoner like me, to create your own graphics, your own video, all that stuff. And it juiced me up and I made my own game. It was really cool, even though it's probably not a big deal. It's probably not a great game, but I liked it and some people played it, and that's all that counts.
Casey loved it.
Cool. Thanks, Casey.
I beat it 8 times, he said. You said 5 times? He corrected us. He said he beat it 8 times now.
8 times! Holy Moses. Well, I don't know what to say. And it's only 3/4 done, so I kind of cheated a little bit. So on the Specky Next version, I just wanted to get it out, and I created 10 levels. And I said there's a baker's dozen in this final game. There's 3 more that I haven't done. But I want to get the game out there to get a feeler for if people actually like it or not. So technically, there's 3 more levels I need to create to finalize the game. So I call it a 3/4 done demo. It's a pretty complete game for itself. But, he's kicked its butt. And it's nice he's the only one that I know of. Although my friend Eric Lamb said he won, but he didn't have a picture proving it. So I don't believe him. Because it's actually a little hard at the end to win. Casey can say it took him a while. He didn't win right away. I think it took him 2 hours, right? Casey, you could type how long did it take you? It was at least 2 to 3 hours, I think.
We're waiting on Casey's answer for that one. How long does it take to play through the game?
And his kids played it too. So I've got pictures of him and his wife and his kids playing. Nothing can juice up somebody more than a creation that you've made and other people have played it, and you see kids, husbands, wives trying it. At least trying it. That's all it takes. And if they enjoy it, that's cool. And I did it. So I'm happy and I'm proud of it, and I'll say that.
let's go back and talk. Look, you mentioned earlier on about how you started your YouTube channel based upon the Sinclair, right? Based upon the computers as a Sinclair society, right?
Yeah. So technically, I've had a YouTube channel for a long time, 2007. So it's been a mixture of things, but where I really got diving into this whole thing has been around the Specky. Yes.
Yeah. So what led? Okay, that's sort of what it faded. What led you to go in and sort of? Okay, let's go back to your very first experiences I saw you have with all these different Intellivision games. You had never played Intellivision at all up until recent years, after you were really into the Amico, basically.
In the 80s or late 70s, I did actually 79, 80, 81. A friend had an Intellivision, so I got to play skiing for the first time. So when I purchased my Intellivision, one of my first videos I did was me playing it on the Intellivision skiing.
I remember watching that.
I never owned it.
But you had never owned it. How does it naturally go? Like, what did you started the Intellivision Amico Society on Facebook, and you started talking about Amico a lot. What sort of led you through that? What process was there like when you started getting into the Amico? How did you build on? Because basically you've started a great Facebook group there now, and your channel has grown a lot again. Because you say the foundation, you had 3,300 subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers, right?
YouTube, YouTube on 3,300. The Facebook group Amico Society is almost at 900. Yep. And I also have a group called Sinclair Society. It's been around longer, and we're up to 1,300 people. So I just like people. You know, I enjoy meeting them, and to do that, you make a free Facebook group, and you invite folks to come over and just to join the group. And probably the reason I purchased my Intellivision was because of the Amico. It's kind of a opposite around, because I got so excited about, wow, a new modern console that gives me the flavor of the 1980s all over again. And, I like that. And I'm going to buy one. And okay, I've got some time. Let's learn about why people liked Intellivision. So I now own the original. Do you call the first one Intellivision? And then the second one is Intellivision 2, and then System 3. Is that the proper way to go?
Basically, yeah.
You never hear people say Intellivision 1. It was just Intellivision. So I own those. Right. I own those three.
If I call it something to differentiate, I say the 2609 because that's the number, you know. Kind of like people say Atari 2600 now, but it wasn't the Atari 2600 then. It was the Atari. Or
Home, it was actually Atari video computer, right? Yeah, I got one of those. So Amico is what drove me to learn about Intellivision and purchase them. And I thought, let's learn where the history comes from and play some of these games. And then I bought some and then started comparing them to my Odyssey 2. And I'll be truthful, like Atari 800 was my first computer. I'll always have my memory of, I didn't own an Atari 2600. I didn't own an Intellivision. My parents bought me in 1976, I think is when it came out, or 77, the Odyssey 2. So I'm an Odyssey 2 kid. So I do comparison videos between Odyssey and Intellivision. I kind of a little bit all over the place, but I compare what's its Pac-Man versus, its Pac-Man. So in the world of Odyssey 2, it's not called Pac-Man, it's called Casey Munchkin.
Casey Munchkin, yeah.
And to be truthful, in my opinion, Casey Munchkin is a hell of a lot cuter than Pac-Man, and I find that it's a better game than the Atari Pac-Man for at least the 2600.
I agree 100%. I didn't play Casey Munchkin, I believe that, but
it's Casey. Casey Munchkin, wonderful game. The thing is, they only have like 40 some or 50 some odd games. Casey will know, but I think 48, 50 games total, where 2600 has so many games you can buy for it. And in all, it's a better all-around platform for longevity and more games. But I love Odyssey 2, and it will always be my first. So I have an affection for it.
Of all the things that I've always sort of jumped into, one of the things I look at when I'm collecting a system, and I think you and I had this conversation the other day, that I am very much a collector. I'm a gamer. I love playing the old games. I love playing Intellivision. I love playing Atari VCS. I love playing new modern games, but I am still like I was always my whole life a collector, not just video games, but other things as well. So one of the things I look at is to sort of be able to have a goal to reach. And I think Odyssey 2 would be an awesome machine to collect for because I like those old style of games and it's manageable. It's not
almost achievable. Almost achievable.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is over in Brazil.
Yes.
There is a wonderful market for Odyssey 2 that goes well and beyond what we have in the United States. Okay. And over in Europe, Odyssey 2 continued on in different name over there. So there's a lot of other things that we in the United States don't necessarily see. But if you're collecting strictly for US, there's limited games. You get the voice module to give it voice capability. It's little pricing, a little harder to get. But it's manageable, like the Aquarius. The Aquarius doesn't have much going for it in terms of quantity, but when, like Burger Time.
Yes.
People want $100 for the Burger Time game because there's not many of them out there. They only, I think, came in this like Aquarius Burger Time set or something, and so it's hard to get. I'm not going to spend $100 on one game. And so, but yeah, Odyssey is achievable. You're correct. It could be done with the right money. You still got to have a little money, but you could do it.
Yeah, no, I think that might be someplace that I go down the road a little ways. I've still got a ways to go right here, a lot closer than I was before. But and in the 125, but I'm at the point now with even Atari as well, which is never going to be a complete, but there's different subsets that I would like to complete. But I'm at the point where the ones that I still need are not going to be ones I'm going to run into. It's going to be a matter of picking and choosing when the deal is right to get
right.
Them. So I'm looking for something now again that I can start off and go, okay, maybe I can get a lot of 10 games or something like that, or anyway.
Well, so, I look to your channel for being the Intellivision dude because you've got so close to it and know it well. So yeah, thanks for having your channel because it gives somebody like me a shooting chance. And then you've got Casey, who single-handedly, when I purchased my Intellivision, it came with 25 games. Casey so nicely donated tons of games to me. Yeah. I hadn't counted, but I've got a lot. No place as close as you, but I've got a lot of games that I slowly do a game of the week on my Amico Society, even though it's about it. I call it Intellivision Amico Society, but it's for anything in television. And once in a while, I'll splash up, hey, go and play Dracula or do this. Try to get people. I try to make it a community and a society that people enjoy visiting more than just a group that you get on and bicker. I don't put up with BS. The second I see it, maybe sometimes too quickly, I'll kick you out. But you can kind of see people that are troublemakers. It's a group for fans that enjoy this stuff. And so it's a lot of fun getting a game of the week, and only a handful of people typically participate, but it's fun still. And you see them playing the game, and I scored 3,000. I scored 100,000 or whatever. It makes the group, I think, a fun way to meet other people.
One of the things I really like that you do as well is pretty much every day you go on there and you go, welcome the newest member who joined today.
Right.
And you put the name up there, and every time I make sure every day I give that gets a, if I don't have a moment to comment, it's damn well going to get a like every day.
Right.
Like that's what I look at every day.
Yeah. And I try to come up with little, whatever's on my mind. Like if I'm eating a peanut butter sandwich, there's going to be a peanut butter sandwich involved in that. Welcome. You want a sandwich or whatever. So I try to just make it fun, make it funny. I'm not a comedian, but there's times I can kind of be funny. So I try to put a little spice and a little fun in there, kind of suck the people in to make sure they're going to enjoy the group and understand that we're just here to have fun. And hopefully people see that from the group.
I remember the days there where you pop up. I always read those names. You never know who's going to pop up. Like today, for example, I looked at it as a welcome to our newest member, Luke Boudreau. And I think it's the Intellivision collector, for Pete's sakes. You just sign up. That's great. So I made the comment in there. It's, oh, great. It's the Intellivision collector. And somebody comments, well, we're all Intellivision collectors. What are you talking about?
And what's funny, my Intellivision 2 and System 3 is from him.
From Luke, exactly.
Yep.
Jeff, you haven't heard of Luke?
States. And I kind of kicked myself because I think he had, I'm trying to remember, there's the other off-brands or generic Intellivisions. There's one that has these big round buttons on top. Is it the Sears Sears Video Arcade. That's an Intellivision. I think he had one of those at the time that I passed on. And I kind of look back going, I should have bought the damn thing. It looks cool. It looks very, I love the big round buttons on the top of it.
After you got yours, though, this way, Jeff. There we go, Jeff. Jeff got his from Luke as well, and Jeff's got a good collection started there. The same thing from Luke. So he's a great source for if you're wanting to get into Intellivision, you're looking to put some holes, fill some holes in your collection. Man, yeah, it's great.
I might have to. Jeff, how about your collection? Are you a 125 going for collector or no?
No, you know what? I know it sounds really funny to some people, but I don't find myself. I don't feel like a collector, to be honest. Now, if I looked around at all this stuff that I've got around here, you'd say, "No, you're crazy. You are a collector." So I don't know. Maybe I am a little bit, but I'm not a collector in that I'm not going to collect everything like for a system.
Right.
You know, I'll get a lot. I got a huge Switch collection, but I'm certainly not getting all of them. You know, I know some people on Twitter, they've got over 900 games. It's like I'm nowhere near that. I've got more than most people probably, but I'm nowhere even close to that.
You're very much. I want the games that I want to play.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's and I can see that very obviously. And same with the Intellivision. The thing about the Intellivision is the it's quite inexpensive to get the first 80 games. It's only after you get up to that point that it gets more and more difficult. So you can have a lot of fun without spending a lot of money with Intellivision.
Yeah, I'm in the 50s already, and none of them were expensive games, really.
And you have some fantastic games.
The whole thing is a rabbit hole, and it's a bit addicting, to be truthful, because you get yourself, part of the fun is the hunt for that thing that you want. So I do find that with like my Volkswagens, the hunt of owning a bus or the hunt of owning this, there is that drive that you salivate for collecting and buying something. And then when you get it, typically for most people, it's just put up on a shelf and moves on. I do try to, I'm more of a user than a collector. I do want to use it. And if it just sits there and not get used, I kind of feel bad. And I'll admit there's some things that I'll buy that don't end up getting used as they should. But I'm trying with my gaming consoles and the computers, I'm putting back into it, like programming my own game. Most people don't do that. So I'm putting the time and effort into doing that little extra to make me feel like, yeah, it was worth me spending that money to buy such and such.
Speaking of the devil, there he is, huh? I didn't even notice. I was there talking. Luke's on in here now.
Half the fun is opening up a package. So there's some that literally come as tanks, and it takes you an hour to pack, or they've got so many things that boom, 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 boom. I just had one come from overseas, and they had cut up a whole bunch of little slits of paper. So for about 5 minutes, I'm all paper, pack, okay, paper. I had more fun flinging this stuff along the room, and then it took me like a half hour to clean it all because I had all this paper all over the place. But yeah, he packed very well. And they are surviving. And in fact, every time you see a video of mine, the Intellivision too, as much as people knock the controllers and such, and it's truthful, they're kind of like the dead flesh keys of my Specky. They're not very good, but it's so compact and nice. I just love it on my desk, and it looks cool. And I've got the matching computer module. I prefer it over the original one and the System 3 because those are a little girthier, and they just take up more real estate on my desk. So.
Yeah, I did an unboxing from something from Luke, and it was funny. It was packed so well. I mean, there's all kind of padding in it. It took a while to get to it, and so I was filming, and I completely screwed everything up, and I had to start over. But I was like, "Well, I've already unboxed it at this point."
Right.
So then I just started up where I was at the box open, and I was pulling stuff out. I had to stop and say, "Just so you know, Luke packed this really well," because it looked just like it was just thrown in there at this point because all the padding was gone. I didn't want anyone to think that Luke was just like throwing stuff in there, sending it out.
Sometimes, hey, as long as there's plenty of stuff around it, that's cool. And if I'm going to talk about Canada for a second. I need to get something off my chest.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, whatever you want to say, eh?
I've got a lot of Canadian Amico friends, right? But one of my first and earliest where I got frauded and screwed over was somebody from Canada that purchased a power book from me.
Yeah.
And he talked me into where I was smart enough not to send the power book, but I sent all the software in advance because he said it would be cheaper, blah, blah, blah. So ended up stiffing me, not paying, or the money ended up not being valid. And this was back in the 90s. Ever since then, I always say, screw the damn Canadians. Although I've got tons of Canadian friends and I love them all. But he kind of screwed me over. But now I purchased Intellivisions from Luke. I have a Coleco Atom coming from where else? Canada.
Yeah.
So I'm very friendly with my friends in the border. And I consider it.
People are people. We have good ones. We have bad ones. You guys have good ones. You guys have bad ones. It's just the way it is.
Exactly. And I'm hoping that one day when Intellivision has a booth at a big major trade show, if our world goes back to trade shows, I don't know if that's going to happen. Everybody's doing everything virtually, but you can see I'm kind of a people person, so I like to meet and shake hands and be with people. I'd love to have a big show where Intellivision has an actual booth and all of us converge on that booth and we'll get to have some Little Caesars pizza.
Domino's.
Yeah, Domino's. I had to go a grade different. Although, anyway, me and go with Intellivision, I get to meet you guys there, and it would be awesome. What a wonderful trip that would be. And one of the funnest things I have, so I consider myself somewhat of an Amigan, also late to the game. I'm not a retro Amigan. I use next generation Amiga computer. Every year in Sacramento, only an hour away, there's an event called AmiWest. It's a big event meaning 50 to 60 people that are all Amigans that converge for a weekend of Amiga. And I've never drunk so much in my life. We drink every whiskey, everything that's known to man. We are wonderful partiers as computer nerds, I tell you.
Well,
and it is a wonderful way to drink with friends.
I can't handle it myself.
So yeah, get ready to drink if we actually do meet, because I'll be ready.
Cheers to it. Cheers.
TJ, did you pre-order the Amiga 500 Mini?
So there's where I'm funny. So I'm not a retro Amigan. I'm a next-gen Amigan. So I use a PowerPC Amiga OS 4 Amiga, not the older. I've owned a number of them. I did, like with the Intellivision, I invested my time and money into older. But I found that I'm an Atari kid. I loved Atari as a retro computer. Amigas were really powerful and, to tell you the truth, more capable in many respects operating system than the Atari. But my love and affection for retro was Atari. So I ended up selling it all and moving it on. But I love the next generation Amiga because Amiga OS 4 is really a cool operating system. It's not Windows. It's not Mac. It's Amiga. It's not as, in my opinion, as capable. I'm not going to say as powerful because it doesn't have some things that you really need in a modern operating system. But it's really cool, and there's a lot of fun people like Pete and Jeff and all the rest of the folks that are in the Amico that really, I stay for the people. I enjoy the platform, but I stay for the people. And that's what the Amiga Next Gen has done for me. I met a lot of friends, 2009-ish, that I enjoyed drinking whiskey with. Can't go wrong. So.
Very cool.
Sorry, I'm typing a message that's very, very important.
And sorry that you can see I've been trying to look over towards, I've got a panel up of people typing stuff. Yeah. I can't see it. I'm going to read it right now. So I think see, look, the camera's all funky now. So I have to put it back. So
PRGE 2022.
What's a PRGE?
The Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Right.
All the guys in Vancouver and California and out west are saying that. And that's where you are, Northern California. So that would be the closest one for you.
Yeah. So there are
retro. When we were talking about pizza there briefly, was not because Creep showed up with his pizza video there. It was just a coincidence that Creep shows up just as we're talking about pizza.
You gotta love the Creep though. Atari Creeper.
Oh,
first of all, he's got Atari in the name, but he's a genuine, tell you like it is. But he's not a jerk. There's people that tell you like it is for everything. he'll tell you like it is for certain things. Yep. And I find him very entertaining and fun. And I'm glad he's part of the Amico family, because part of the society, and the reason I made my group, is there's a lot of different personalities. And I don't mind different personalities unless you're a jerk. If you're a jerk, you're gone. But bring your personality, bring your uniqueness to the group, and we all can have a good time. And we may joke about certain things and uniqueness, but that makes it fun. So the different personalities, and he's got one, you've got one, Jeff's got one, Tommy's got one. We've all got unique personalities. Even OEB Pete, formerly known as OEB Pete, has one too. So
that's right.
Classy Pete.
And the friggin' Amico announcement dance there going on, right?
Napoleon Dynamite. That's right. That was Pete.
That's beautiful. Gee, I did that a little bit, and I got the goal on my watch. That's great.
Sweet.
Casey, I told them they're all saying they go to PRGE, so I got to fly across, and I'm crashing down in the collection room at C-Marts there to go down to PRGE.
So C-Mart's a major collector.
Well deserved.
He's got 50 of everything. So a little anal there, and I'll admit I'm a little anal too. I've got to always have 2 of something. So 2 Atari 800s, but I can't have 2 Atari Falcons. But he seems to be the type that has like 2 of everything, just to make sure you're covered.
Well, I'll tell you this: I don't know, 2 or more, but what do you call it, a philanthropist or whatever? Because I mean, he's added a lot to my personal collection, and I'm most appreciative of that. I got videos out on that too. If you haven't had a chance to see them, anybody, take a look at some of the stuff that he sent me out here last winter now.
Cool.
Phenomenal stuff. So, very generous person, very, very appreciated, very well respected in the Intellivision community. So, there's a reason they call it the C-Mart 125 list on Atari Age, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And hopefully, I'm in time, even though I'm a newcomer generally to Intellivision, hopefully in time, people say, yeah, TJ loves Intellivision, I'd love to be part of it. I'm relatively new to Intellivision, only a number of years now. So hopefully in time, 10 years from now, I'll just be one of the other crusty old guys that likes Intellivision, and I'm okay with that. I've
been lucky enough that, I've gone through the gambit, right? I played it when I was 10 years old or 12 years old, and played it up through for 10 years. And I mean, you get to you get into high school and university, and you're not obviously playing the games like that through the late 80s and 90s as much. I wish I was now, because I'd have more games. But you lose it. But the thing about the Intellivision is that between the nostalgia with my family, like the way it was part of our family with my sister and brother-in-law, and when I stayed at their house and stuff, it's always been part of my life. And even in the 90s, when the internet was sort of becoming a thing, one of the things that I would look for would be, even though I wasn't playing it, I didn't have it, it was the Intellivision. And I'd sort of look up at it. So Intellivision Productions website was always on there, because Keith Robinson always kept that stuff going. So I've always really followed it, but it's been amazing the last 5 years where I've really gotten back into it. It's sort of weird, because in the 2000s, when 98 is when I joined eBay, and one of the things I bought more than anything else on eBay was Intellivision games. All the ones that didn't have the Buzz Bombers, the motocrosses, the stuff like that I just had never had. So it's I don't consider myself an extremely knowledgeable person on Intellivision, to be quite honest, especially when I compare to some of the people like, oh my God, it's great when Luke comes on Astro Smash and gives us a trivia question, right, Jeff?
Exactly.
Some of the stuff he comes up with, but I tell you, I've been there for 40 years now with that system, and I really do love it. I have a lot of respect for those guys that do have that huge knowledge and are amazing collectors of the system.
Yeah, well, I'm glad those folks are around to kind of show us the ropes. I rely on, even like I was saying, your channel for Intellivision stuff, because there's a lot that I have to learn, and as I pick out a game, I may look at something you've done and say, oh, I saw him playing this or that. Maybe it's a good game of the week or whatever. So I'm learning a lot from everybody else. And hopefully in time, there'll be somebody that looks at me and says, hey, he played this game pretty poorly, but now I know about it and I'm excited about it. That's all I care about. People that watch it get excited.
Oh my God, I got to just bring up you say on that right now. You played this on your channel the other day. And
oh, yeah, that's a gift from Mr. Casey. It blew me away, received it, and I got to say, so most of my games, if you watch my videos, I never get too far, but I'm throwing myself into the lion's den, and I admit it. Most people sit there and probably play for a few hours. I want to look good on the video. But not me. I'm opposite. I'm going to flap it in and start playing it and go for 10 minutes and see what happens. So most of the time, it's not great, but it's funny, I think. And then later on, if I really like the game, I'm going to dive into it and try to learn it better. But that's a really cool game. And there's some games that I'm amazed at how far they push the envelope of these games in now 2021. Wow, the system could do that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's pretty friggin' well. It was the first 16-bit system? Is that what they say? A 32 first 16-bit system, right?
I've heard that. So I always get confused. I thought it was still part of the 8-bit world, but is it a 16-bit processor on an 8-bit bus, or how does that go? I don't know.
I would have to have somebody explain that on my behalf. I could just sort of regurgitate what I've been told, I guess. I'm not going to be able to explain to you exactly why, but it's considered the first 16-bit system.
Gotcha. Yeah. So they kind of stretch, kind of like the Sinclair QL. Probably no one in this group knows what the hell the Sinclair QL is, but it is their kind of answer to a business computer 6800 processor. But instead of getting like a 6800, they got a 68008, which was a little chewed down. So it was kind of like, it's a 16-bit processor, but an 8-bit bus, and everything kind of slows to a crawl, kind of like the TI-99. I don't know if you're familiar with that computer, but it has a 16-bit processor, but it's on an 8-bit bus. So everything kind of, it's all relative, I guess. So I don't know. Is it a 16-bit all across the board Intellivision? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, I can't explain that to you. It's sort of a technicality that makes it 16-bit. But
so maybe somebody will at some point answer that. That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, I think Luke could definitely fill us in on. I don't know if he's still around or not, but he could probably fill us in on exactly why it is considered. I don't know. I hate to say that because I hear this isn't something that I just heard or read once and said, "Oh, that's the gospel." I mean, that's been consistent. Keith Robinson would say that on the Intellivisionaries podcast and would probably explain it quite clearly. That's why I listen to each episode. Sometimes I'll listen to it the third time and I'll learn just as much the third time as I did the first two, right?
Right.
I listen to Paul and Rick and Will and C-Mart talk about the system in these games, and it's amazing what you learn when you listen to it. I love that podcast. But okay, you watch some of my videos to learn about games, right? So you probably see some of the 125 then.
Yep, but if you ask what specific video, I forget really easily.
I'm not asking that, but what I am asking, I'm going to tell you right now that I hope to have Safecracker out by Christmas, which is the next theme. And what I'm going to ask you right now, because I don't have anything in line, I know what number 25 is going to be, and I know what the next one is going to be, but I got 5 or 6 to do in between. What game would you like to see done that maybe hasn't been done? I'll tell you if it's been done, and don't worry if you pick one that's been done. There aren't very many that have been done. But if you could have me do any one game, I will do that game right after you do Safecracker.
I know it, but you probably have already played it, and it's one I didn't own. Dig Dug.
Dig Dug. The game that I will do after Safecracker is Dig Dug.
So have you played that one yet?
I've played it, yes. I've just not done it on the 125, which is where I do a little bit of a deep dive. So you got the news here first, guys. Safecracker will be out before Christmas. We'll be doing a post. It'll be out. I'll release it on a Tuesday night at 9:00 Papa Pete time, 5:00 Pacific.
Cool.
And we'll do a live stream after, like we have done the last couple times. Again, before Christmas. I think that probably I'll talk the Intellivision collector into joining me for that podcast, and maybe we'll get some special guests for that one too. Last time I did one, TJ, I had William Muller join Luke and I, And Jeff, you weren't there that day. You were busy, I think, that day.
I was.
Yeah, and for Jeff will be there too if he's available. It was after I did the one on auto racing, so it's a lot of fun. It's very similar to what we do tonight. We just get on there and gab. And William come on and talked about Electro Night and all the homebrews. Have you had the chance to play any of the homebrews on Intellivision?
No, I don't think so.
Gorf is obviously a homebrew.
Is it? I thought, I don't know if I've seen a picture. I thought I saw a picture that said like 1983 Gorf on a cartridge.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's a new game that was just released by CollectorVision just within the last, it was pre-sale was this summer, and I think we received them in October.
Cool.
Maybe September. So that's a very, very new homebrew game.
So anything, basically, is everything then considered homebrew at this point? Because unless it's under the Intellivision brand, I guess it would be homebrew.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but suffice it to say that the games that were released between 1979 and 1989 are the 125 original games released for the system. And it goes through, there's various releases, but those are the originals. That's the 125. And then since that period, people started making games themselves, homebrew releases. And even some of these homebrew releases are very, very professionally released, like the Gorf game, for example, or any of the Electronite games. But there's now more of those than there are original games. There's over 125 of these homebrews.
I may have, because Casey did gift me a game that has zombies in it, and I played it on my Game of the Week, and I actually made a video.
Yeah, Zombie Madness?
Yeah, Zombie Madness.
Zombie Madness. That's a homebrew game. And I'll tell you what, don't you have Rick Dynamite, correct?
I do, but I haven't done that one yet, and it poked its little eyes at me the other day when I went into the back bedroom to look for Game of the Weeks, and it was Halloween, and I said, Dracula. So I did that one. But I need to do the Dynamite Dan one here in the coming future.
Also a homebrew game for the Intellivision system. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, really.
Homebrews are cool. Yeah, every platform has homebrews of some kind. It makes it really fun to be part of.
Yeah. Right on. So let's get back. Well, we've been here for it's been an hour and a half. This is amazing. It's so much fun. Amico, what game are you looking forward to the most on the Amico? Let's get back to that, and then we'll talk to the chat a little bit. See if we got some more questions for you.
Cool.
But I want to finish up with Amico stuff because it is the Intellivision Amico Society.
Yeah, I could easily say like Dungeons and Dragons or Astro Smash or something, but I would say Moon Patrol because in the day, TJ was pretty good at Moon Patrol. So actually, I think it would be a game that I could actually do relatively well at. So I'm thinking Moon Patrol.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. How about you, Jeff? What one are you looking forward to the most? Dyna Blaster?
Well, Dyna Blaster's up there, so I can compare it with other Bomberman games. Evil Knievel's also one.
Yep.
And I'm really curious about the cornhole game because I want to see how the motion control works compared to the Wii. That I want to see if it's just as good, if the physics are right with the arcing and all that.
Yeah.
And one I haven't talked much about is skiing, but on the Atari, the old Atari, I love that skiing game. It was such a weird game because it was just a matter of not even inches. It's just like of pixels where you were trying to improve your score each time, but you were just barely moving. Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Love skiing.
I don't know why I liked it so much, man. I just had a lot of fun. I'm hoping the Intellivision one is just as good.
I remember playing that back in the day. And again, like my brother, not my brother-in-law, this is my actual brother who's 12 years older than me. He was sort of an expert at it, and he had to write down. The trick is don't touch that damn joystick any more than you have to, because every tiny little bit will shave hundreds of seconds off your score. So just with the faintest of touch, you could get it so you just nip on the inside. He could do that just perfectly, That was a fun game. And I've been playing Mountain Madness skiing, which I recently got from Luke. And the original US skiing, and they're similar, but it's just a little bit different type of control than with the joystick. using the disc. Great games, and I'm looking forward to that new one too.
Cool. Yeah. Did you guys ever see the Abominable Snowman in the skiing demo? When Intellivision said they put out the skiing demo, wasn't there some note out there that if you look close enough, you'll see the snowman?
That sounds familiar, but I haven't seen it.
Same thing I'm thinking, Jeff. I sounds familiar, but I don't really recall it off the top of my head. Have you, TJ?
No, that's why I was asking. I seem to remember Yeti was in there someplace, and it find Yeti or find the abominable snowman. I forget what word they used for it, but it's the same creature.
Yeah.
So supposedly it was someplace along the path as he was going, but I never saw it, or maybe somebody made it up and I just believed it.
That story sounds so familiar, but no, I never did see it.
Huh.
I think that the first game that I will play when it comes, I really do, is going to be Astro Smash. Just because it's not my favorite Intellivision game, but I still think of it as one of the games that is most synonymous with the Intellivision system, like one of the most well-known. It sort of goes together. Like I said on Astro Smash, that's why DJC calls the show Astro Smash. It's a great title for his stream on Monday nights. It goes with the Intellivision just like peanut butter and jelly, right?
Right.
There was a pack-in for a while, and they had the $100,000 contest.
Aquarius has Astro Smash also.
Yes, and it's quite a bit different. I watched your videos on that, and I was surprised at how different it was.
That's why people say the Aquarius is kind of a bit underpowered, too late to the game, but it's still kind of neat. But yeah, it's definitely the Intellivision version's better, for sure.
I don't know. I think that's what I'll do. But as far as games I'm looking forward to, are some of the ones that haven't been announced yet, or haven't really been they can't announce.
Right.
Tron Deadly Discs. I would love to see that Tron license because I very much like Tron Deadly Discs, and I like Tron Solar Sailor as well. Very frustrating game, but I think they could do amazing things with the increased power that the Amico is going to have. And for all intents and purposes, Mazatron as well. It's not a game that I really have even played next to not at all on the Intellivision system, but I think they can do a lot with the increased power, and they can make it a different type of game with the same type of premise and make a fabulous game out of it. So I don't know if it'll ever happen, but so be it. And the next one I'm going to say is one of my favorite games, and that's Sea Battle. And Slappy did an amazing little take today. Did you see his picture on all the different groups?
Sea Battle's fun.
Oh, yeah. And they said in there, like, I think, was it you're probably in the society, somebody posted or you posted, what do you want to see change most in the Sea Battle? Maybe it's what Slappy posted. What do you want to see added for the Amico Sea Battle? And I said, I want to see one player versions, 3-player versions, and 4-player versions. Increase the graphics a little bit, maybe the controller top, but it's a phenomenally created game as it is.
Yep.
Pete, do you need the Tron license in order to enjoy the Amico versions if they don't get the license? And they went ahead and made it anyway?
I believe, first of all, that the Tron license will add to it. At the end of the day, does it need it? No, because a good game is a good game, whether it's Tron or whether it's a Frisbee golf battle game, right? They could merge it into something with a Frisbee golf type game. And it would be very, very fun. Like I say, Frisbee battle. So it would still work. The game itself is just plain old fun, but I do love the Tron franchise, and it would add to it. Tron Solar Sailor, Tron Mazatron. I don't know how you would do it. The Deadly Discs, it's more of an arcade game anyway, which you could put in a different wrapper and it would still be fun.
And they have that for Aquarius too. It's kind of funny. A few of the key games they have on Aquarius, and Tron Deadly Disc is one of them. I haven't played it yet.
When they had the license, they would probably try to put out as much as they could, you would think. You often hear people say, oh, the Snafu was there too, but no, Snafu was released like months or even years before Tron even existed. Although it very much is reminiscent of the light cycles, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. I've only seen the original Tron. I haven't seen the newer ones. We own them. There's lots of. My wife is really good about buying all sorts of Blu-rays and DVDs over the last umpteen years. So we've got a huge collection of movies, but finding the time to actually have a movie night and seeing them is another thing. And I haven't watched the new Trons yet.
I hear you. I would watch the original. I have watched the new one. I watched it once, and I've probably put in the original 4 times since then and watched it again. So I'm happy with just watching the original.
Original, yeah. Well, yeah, originals are always cool. I'll give it a chance. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Any other questions in the chat that I missed, Jeff? How about you guys talk about? Let's say, what do you think about those games? What do we want to see on the Amico? What do you want to play first? When that shows up on your doorstep with the big announcement today that we're actually one little step closer, what are you going to open it up and what are you going to put in first thing? I don't know. It's I look at these, the 8 that aren't going to be the pack-in, and I'm still going to play Astro Smash first. If I'm just looking at these ones, it's biplanes. I want to try out biplanes because I love triple action. Have you tried that yet? It's a 2-player game only, so it'll be very difficult for you to play, right?
Yeah. I don't think I even own it. I may. There's a lot of things I have that I don't know I have.
Yeah.
I need to explore. Just finding the time and so many different platforms that I play on. It's kind of hard to. Yeah. It'd be wonderful if you just focused on one only. You could probably become really good at that one platform, but I find it hard to stick with one. I enjoy all of them. Atari, all of it.
And that's another thing with Amico that I really hope they do once they get through the hurdle that they've been going through. There's been talk. You never know if the situation is going to come up. You're going to have the packs of original and television titles. And I said about having the original and television titles, the best thing they can do for those is I want to be able to sit down and TJ, hey, let's have a game of Sea Battle. And hook it up, and you sitting in Northern California, me sitting in New Brunswick, and us playing a game of Sea Battle online. And I know there's not going to be any online servers and big rooms and stuff, but link direct peer-to-peer and play a game of the original Sea Battle against somebody because it's so difficult to find people to play against, right?
Yeah, I agree. I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
On nights that you can't do family co-op or whatever, couch co-op. Yeah.
But there's things like what we're doing right now where we're getting together, and that's the way for our online friends to get together and do things too. There's room for both.
Yeah. So Born Distracted says, hey, TJ, which classic console or computer you have that you had high hopes for but turned out to not be as hoped? You know, I don't really have any. I'm pretty easy when it comes to seeing the merits of anything. I'm typically a pretty positive person, so I'm going to always pick on the positive versus the negative. So I don't think there's ever been one that I just said, this is utter trash. I mean, easily, I could pick like the ZX81. No sound, black and white. Most people would say, that's rubbish. But there's a certain... Man, what did they do to make this computer over in the United Kingdom really cheap for people to afford that couldn't afford a computer? I look at that aspect of it saying, yeah, this gave somebody the capability to have their first computer. So, yeah, I don't think there's any console or anything like that that I've really looked at saying, yeah, this didn't meet my expectations or whatever. They all have their merits.
Right on. Got another one there.
I'm looking.
Casey says I own Triple Action. Lots of laughs. He knows what I own. He's like Big Brother. Oh, he's looking.
That the thumbnail for today is I think the boxes in that picture in front of you are some of the stuff that he sent you, right?
Where? What box?
The thumbnail that I used. I watched the video where you opened that box. That was fun. That was
could
fun.
Be. There's lots of stuff. I've got basically one box of stuff over there that's got about 20 some odd games. I've got the ones that I've played over there, so I don't mix them up. And then a back bedroom, I've got a number of boxes with all sorts of games in there. And every so often I say, let's get something different. I'll go in there and find one that seems to look interesting.
This question from Classy Gaming Fun. Pete, I only have one way to answer that question. Damn you, GoGameGo. And that's
Sorry.
it.
Yeah, I never got into. I think my wife owns some Funkos, Lord of the Rings ones, maybe. She collects some things. She's very much into Lord of the Rings and those type of things. So yeah, I don't own any myself. Closest I got to Funkos is old bobbleheads, like an Oakland Athletics bobblehead.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's about the only bobblehead thing I have.
JD knew whose fault it was. That's for sure. All right, what do we got here? Oh, that's the one you asked. Oh, Luke on here saying about Monopoly deal available for the Amico. Favorite family card game. I'm not familiar with that one.
No, I've never even heard of it.
I know what Monopoly is, but not deal.
I can remember when I was a young kid at a yard sale many moons ago. I bought for $5. I bought this electronic thing that you set at the middle of the board, and you hit a button, and it rolled the dice and everything for you, and come up. But every once in a while, it would auction off a property. So it took a game. Monopoly could be long, like 3 hours, 4 hours long, right? And press it right down. So it would only take like an hour to play a game. And it was the most phenomenal feature for Monopoly at the time. Made the games very manageable and very fun, and also kept people from necessarily winning. That would be. I always thought that would be a neat addition to add to any sort of video game, like a Monopoly game for the computer. So
cool, Mr. Poe style. One thing that stuck out in Magic. So is the Magic the Intellivision games that have the silver cases?
Yes.
So if you've watched some of my videos, you'll see that I bitch and moan about it. I don't like the Magic cases because the butt of it just kind of falls out. And there's certain aesthetically. So the Intellivision boxes I like the most are the ones that open up and show you the goods inside. Then second would be the ones that you have to pop the top open and pry it and get your stuff out. But the Magic ones to me just seem chintzy. It's like I think of it as the teenagers that wear the baggy pants and they see their underwear and stuff on the back. The stuff just falling at the bottom. It's like, pull your stuff up. There should be a lid or something to lock that thing in. So it drives me crazy. So every single Magic game that I played so far, I go, I don't like these damn cases. Oh man, get off my lawn. But they're great games.
They are great games. That's so funny to hear you say that because, yeah, I've picked up many a Magic case off the shelf or box off the shelf and had it all plummet on a bang on the floor.
Right. I mean, what I had asked, I think on one of my videos was when you purchased it brand new, was it just cellophane that was keeping it in there? Or was there some flap that you had to peel off? What kept it inside there originally? Does anybody know?
It was shrink wrapped. They were shrink wrapped originally.
That was it. And then the bottom just fell out all over the place.
It. Yeah. Well, after it happened the first time, you're supposed to know better.
Right. I don't know. It's the little things. I guess I'm anal like that. Little things like that bug me. But I love the games. Yeah, the damn boxes. I don't like those boxes. And then they're hard to put back in because it rubs on the lip. So you push it and it stops. And then you got to kind of pry it up and push it in the rest of the way.
But man, I love the Magic games. They're great. Who is it? What are you looking for? Like the Demon Attack's going to be fantastic. Safecracker. And I think I said this on Astro Smash the other day. I'm going to say it again. Missile Command is no substitution for Atlantis. Okay, that's my motto. I'm gonna have that put on a T-shirt. I think.
There you go. I'm trying to think. I played Demon Attack. That was one of the games that I did get from as a gift from Casey. Really, that one to me seemed like, holy crap, this thing does pretty good graphics on the Intellivision.
Yeah,
and the movement of the characters and everything. And that was a pretty good game. But I don't think I've played Atlantis yet. I don't remember. I don't think so.
I just noticed Erlo Burlo in this chat here too. Haven't seen you in a while, Erlo. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Just wanted to say it. Mr. Postdog, great. Thank you for stopping in. This is not the same question that he had before, is it, Jeff?
No, it's a different one.
For you, TJ.
Okay, TJ, here's another Q. Ooh, Star Trek. I think of Q. Which classic console or computer was the easiest to obtain, and which was the hardest to obtain? I can go to the hardest. See, easiest would probably be my Ataris, the older 8-bit. There's tons of them out there. And I was an Atari kid, so relatively easy. But the hardest, I would say probably the Sam Coupe. Because of price and mine, I didn't know much about it. And probably everybody in here is going to go, well, Sam Coupe, what the hell's that?
Yeah, what is that?
Do you guys happen to know? I'm going to ask, does anybody here know what a Sam Coupe is?
No.
Is it anything to do with a haircut?
No. And it's not a sports car from Ford or anything, or an old coupe. But yeah, Coupe. So there's a company, it kind of came, one of those computers came too late. And you already had the Ataris and the other 16-bit, 32-bit computers out. But over in the UK, this was kind of a semi-successor to the Sinclair. Take your beefed-up Sinclair Spectrum at the time, like the +2 or +3, and add all this other capability to it, was the Sam Coupe, made by a company called Miles Gordon Technology. And it's a kind of like the grab an 8-bit computer and throw as much as you can into it capability-wise, and it's a really bitchin' computer, and it does a lot of neat things. There you go. But, yeah, it sold, I think, about 12,000, 10,000, something like that. And so it's a bit pricey, and it only to tell you the truth, I am probably only one of 2, maybe 3 people in the United States that have one. I know of a guy down in Texas that has one. And then I think he said somebody else still might have one. So, yeah, you won't see many Sam Coupes in the United States. I happen to have one, and it is a pretty bang-up 8-bit computer. Not 16-bit, not pretending to be 16-bit. It's a real 8-bit ZX or Z80 processor. Yeah, that was a little bit of a fun to get, and they're pricey. These days, yeah, 1,000-something for it, for sure.
Wow. And it really doesn't. You can't do your taxes on that baby, can you?
Magic had great games.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to read demon attached photo with toy dinosaurs spray painted silver. Ha!
It really, I like the box art on the Magic games, really.
Oh, the art was wonderful. I just didn't like the droopy drawers, everything fall out.
Yeah.
It's my only complaint.
Turn that one off. Ooh, Kurt got a copy of Fathom. That is a big pickup. That is the grail of the Magic games right there, I would say.
So is that an expensive one? I have no clue what Fathom is.
That is for sure, yes.
Yeah.
Very difficult to get.
So is it one that you can still download the ROM for and use that neat little LTO device to play it?
You certainly could, yeah.
Cool. I'll explore it that way.
Casey agrees with me. Atlantis. Somebody else had on here. Lance on here. Atlantis needs to happen. It absolutely does. Here we go. JD's got it. We need a petition for Atlantis. Understand why they can't do everything on launch, but agree. Missile Command is no substitute. Thank you. I'm not trying to. It is what it is. That's where we're going to get Missile Command. It's going to be a lot of fun too. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be great. But I just love Atlantis. I got a special place in my heart for Atlantis. I love Missile Command. My favorite version of Missile Command was the Atari 2600 version. I liked it better than the arcade, to be quite honest.
That was an unusually good port, considering the arcade was a trackball.
Wasn't it though? It was really strange how fluid.
It was really good.
Smooth the joystick felt.
Yeah.
Good old Atari 2600. My favorite game, Adventure. Played Adventure on Atari. One of those, as easy as it seems to be, it was such a cool game at the time, having big-ass ducks chasing you around. Pretty much what the dragons look like, big ducks. But they was awesome. Love that game.
That's it. They were ducks for sure. Take a look at the Dracula box again and tell me you don't chuckle. Okay.
Challenge accepted.
Dracula was a pretty damn fun game. I like that. I don't think I ever figured out the zombie part though.
Yeah, I chuckled. I mean, this is the cheesy box art here. So
yeah. And I think I did make note of that in my recent video. I did kind of make fun at the picture.
Yeah. Wow. But man, this is a fun game and very different.
Yep.
There. Very
different.
different.
I like the whole idea of it. It was cool.
Yeah. Dracula was awesome, but that guy in makeup. Yeah, you're not kidding, man. And we're caught up right on. So, by God, I guess let's call it a wrap. We're at almost 2 hours, man.
Sweet.
Hopefully, I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too.
This has been fun. Hey, to tell you the truth, my first Intellivision base, or actually, I think anything since I got real internet, and it's only been 2 months that I've had real internet. My first time actually enjoying being part of a wonderful crew of people like you guys, chatting about things I love. So I appreciate you inviting me here.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you so much for coming on because we really, really enjoyed it. What do you have coming up on your channel next?
You know, this last month I made the most videos ever. I think I've already made 20 videos for the month.
Wow.
So I've been really deep diving in. I'm probably going to hit the Atari heavy right now. I've had this influx of going back to my roots and playing with Atari. I've got my Atari 800 right now in front of me. You can't see with an old single-sided disk drive. So I'm going to probably start tinkering with my Ataris more. So expect more Atari videos. And with everything else, I'll throw in everything else. I'm going to splash in Intellivision and Sinclair and a little of everything. But I kind of like just whatever tickles my fancy, you know. Wake up that morning and say, I'm going to play Intellivision or I'm going to play Atari or whatever. Excellent. I like winging it. So, yeah.
That's the best way to do it, really, because, you know, it's just you're doing what you love. And I always find when you're doing something you're enjoying, it comes through with what you're, you know, in your personality as you're doing it. Yeah, if you love it, it comes through.
Cool. Well, hopefully what I do comes through to the few folks that watch my channel. I appreciate everybody watching it, and I'll continue doing it. And even if it was only a party of one and it was my mom watching, I'd still do it because it's an outlet. It gives me an outlet to just do fun things, stupid things, rainbow things, you name it. Just a little outlet for you to kind of cut loose. And I like doing it.
I say the same thing all the time. You know, if it was just me and it was just 2 other people, I just like doing it. I just like making it.
Yeah.
Making the things, you know. So, Jeff, what do you have coming up next? We got a big night tomorrow night, right?
Big night tomorrow night. Our big night before Thanksgiving, or as you call it, Pete, Thursday.
Thursday.
You damn Canadians.
Well, it's kind of like a movie night because we have all 5 of us there. Me, Stuart, you, Pete, JD, and Lance, except it's not a movie night. We're just going to have an open chat with the 5 of us. I thought it'd be cool to have us all get together right before the holiday and just kind of hang out, relax.
Cool.
It's going to be fun. So anybody come over to the GoGameGo channel tomorrow night. We're going to have, like I say, open chat. Well, it'll be fun. We're going to chill. I might have worked on a little video for the opening tomorrow night earlier this evening as well. So
excellent.
You never know. So I'm working on, I've got like 3 pickup videos in the can, and I've got 1 more that I got to film coming up. I'm going to keep going with the Indie Homebrew Spotlight. Next up on it is going to be, what the blazes is it? I can't remember. I'm going to remember before I finish. Oh, Norseman, the newest ROM-only release by Carlos Madruga, which is available on Intellivisioncollector.com for download, or from Carlos directly, but I think he's selling them all through Intellivision Collector on the website. It is a remake of an Odyssey 2 game. Actually, yeah, exactly. Norseman. It was Norseman on the Odyssey 2. So that should be kind of interesting. And then, of course, the next episodes of the 125 are going to be Safecracker next. And thanks to TJ's recommendation today, I'm going to be doing Dig Dug after that. So Coco stayed away all night, and she came back right for the very end, and my arm's gone to sleep already trying to hold her. So
that is one fat watermelon.
Oh,
Moses.
She likes lying right there in the bathroom. Anyway, once again, check out Intellivision Amico Society on Facebook. Check out TJ's channel. And finally, thank you so much for joining us tonight, TJ. I've had a blast, a lot of fun.
This was awesome.
I knew it would be, and hopefully we do this again sometime in the relatively near future. Sound good?
For sure. Thanks for inviting me. Wonderful show you guys have. Thank you very much for having me on.
Beautiful. Chat, you're
Peace.
great. It's so happy to have everybody in the chat. My God, it was just hopping. I really appreciate everybody who watches. And right on. We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans out there. We'll have our Thursday. Take care.
Chicken. Have chicken. Thanks. Bye.